and funguses and things like that. So it can be very, very helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And let me know if it's not getting better. Like, we can try different things. Like yeah, boy, it sounds like it's really hitting you hard. And it is getting better, or is it?
It
not?
is. Oh yeah, it's definitely better, but it's going on like 5 weeks now.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It is a long time, but
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you brought up all these irritants that have not normally been here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, I'll get those things and try them and let you know.
That red tide is something, but like all the flooding, like anytime there's flooding in the area, sometimes it's not even flooding. Like, you look up in the Northwest with all the snow and the big trees, there can be high levels of mold. Here we get a lot of snow, so there's the potential for a lot of mold, like come springtime. So if you live in areas where there's a lot of snow and a lot of rain, it can happen. So different regions have different issues that potentially can have high mold counts.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And having it right in the house for I don't know how long, I didn't even know it until we pulled up the floor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
And did that get all cleaned up, or you're still in the process of cleaning it up?
No, that's cleaned up and sealed and new floors down. So
yeah, okay.
So that
it makes me wonder, like, did they check the vents?
I haven't had those cleaned out yet, but
try diffusing. Just try diffusing the savory, and even like on some of the vents, like put take like a spray. How like the vent, go in and like make a spray with a lot of savory and just like spray it on the inside, so that as the air circulates, it kind of takes it down through there, because it's not just cleaning up the air, it's literally killing the mold and the fungus that's in the area. So I would put like either a couple of drops in a couple of vents, and the house is going to smell like savory for a little while, but it will clean the vents up without having to do big cleanup where you have somebody come in and do it or whatever. Just throw some savory in there, or the fungal support, either way, whichever one you have. Just use that to clean up. I'm
going to order them both. So
yeah.
I'll use them both. Thanks.
And then if it's not getting better in a couple of weeks, like, please let me know. Like, we'll step up our game some way, somehow.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get you feeling better.
It's just an irritant. I mean,
yeah, but still, be it that it's an external thing or an internal thing, let's just keep you healthy.
It's a lot of it is just socially too. People get concerned.
Oh my God, if you sneeze and cough in public now, like a couple of years ago, you got the stink eye. Now you get the kind of weird side look. Like, COVID really changed all that. Like, it made it very weird to have a cough or a sneeze out in public.
It could be harmless, but
when we were traveling, like, I think I coughed one time at a gate, and everybody looked at me, and then they stopped. And I was kind of like joking to Samantha. I was like, I'm so ashamed. I can't look at anybody. I'm so ashamed. It's a joke, but everybody gives you the stink eye because you had like a little cough. And I think I was joking on something. Like, I had drank some water or something, and it just didn't go down right. And so I had this little coughing spasm, and boy, did I get dirty looks.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David, then Sonia.
Hey, David.
Hi, so I've got a mold question.
Yes.
Room that we've tore up the floor and there was mold, and we tore up that floor. And I think we got it all out, but it might be in the air. So in one room, 15 by like probably 40, how would I diffuse it? And could you compare and contrast the savory versus the fungal support? I would do the fungal support is stronger,
But if you didn't have the fungal support and you had the savory, I'd throw that out. You could do it like if you have a diffuser, I would just diffuse it for a while. If you don't have a diffuser, like there's a great old school way of doing it. I'm trying to see, but basically take like a paper towel and like kind of like fold. Do we have a paper towel? Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Yeah. So take the paper towel like so, and then you just kind of go like that and then twist it like so. And then drop several drops of the oil on it, and then put it down on the table and put a glass over the top. The bigger the glass, actually, what I used to use is a big like mason jar. And so what's happening is it's starting to evaporate into the mason jar, right? And then after about 5 minutes or so, turn the mason jar over and just let it sit there so that it emanates out of the mason jar, but then take the paper towel and unwind it like so. And so you see it's kind of like a little bit of a teepee, and then just put it out like that. And it will continue to diffuse off of the paper towel for quite a while. And it will last for several hours. And then in 3 or 4 hours, do it again. You do several cycles of that, I'd call it good. Like, if it's really bad, you could do several days in a row, but this is like an old school way of doing a diffuser. Back in the day, there wasn't a lot of electric diffusers. So we used to use just the mason jar and paper towel trick. And I mean, it works great. And so, if I remember right, you had kind of a serious mold issue. I would do it every day for 1 or 2 cycles of that every day for like maybe a week or 2. You probably will be good after that. But if you're still feeling like something's in the air, you can keep doing it for a little while. Areas where there's a lot of moisture in the air, you might need to do it from time to time in the house. Or if there's a lot of snow or a lot of rain, you might need to do it from time to time. And there are little kits, like little Petri dishes, where you can get and go swab the air ducts and things, and then send it off, and they'll tell you like mold count in the air ducts. But if you had mold in there, I just assume that it's there and cleaned it up. And I do the same thing like what I was telling Cindy, is put a couple drops in several of the air vents, so that as air kind of goes in and out of the vent, it diminishes the any sort of mold or fungus that's growing in the air vents. I had one student one time, sometimes the vents and things have that big filter, like they put a bunch of drops on the filter and then put it back and just let that happen. I don't know if you need to go to that extreme, but I found that kind of interesting. Like, I hadn't thought that out, but I was like, that was kind of smart. You can also put it in alcohol and then like spray it around the house, like any areas that you think might be heavy with potential mold or things like that. But if you got it cleaned up, you got it cleaned up, and just clean the air up. And like if they got on, sometimes there's like a little bit of mold maybe on a furniture that's not visible to the eye, but it's there. And so, you don't want to spray wood surfaces, but like, if you got a couch or something that had been there through all of it, maybe spray that down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Yeah, and would it be safer? I believe you said everything but wintergreen is safe for kitties and dogs.
Yeah, that blend should not have an issue with animals. The
Okay.
only animal that has a hard time with any essential oil or incense is birds.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a few things that they keep away from dogs and cats. Wintergreen's not good for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, by the way, for cats?
What's that?
Anything else I should keep away from?
I'll have to go through my notes off the top
Okay.
of my head. I don't remember. I remember wintergreen being a big one.
Okay.
But I'll go through and look to see what oils are not good for cats and dogs.
So Greg, this is super helpful. Yeah, it was a big problem. We tore up the house with it, but I know it's in the vents, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would just, if you had it in the house, assume that it's in the vents.
Right.
It probably is. And so, you know, there's services where they come in, they clean up the vents and everything. You know, I had this issue in Southern California. You know, we even did the little Petri dish, and it was just off the charts. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it's a really old little house, and we weren't near the ocean, but we were like, I don't know, like maybe 20 miles from the ocean, but there was enough moisture in the air, and the place was old that it was an issue. And so I did this treatment with that, and I sprayed it in all the vents and put oil on the entry points at the vents and the air ducts and all that. And then after about a month, I was just thinking that there was also a section where you could visibly see mold in like one of the closets. And I think I just made like a blend of alcohol and Clorox or something and sprayed it all over that, and then treated it with Savory. And we went back and tested everything. The count had gone down to almost nothing.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So, and I called him, a friend of ours tore up his whole house because he's got mold sensitivity and he has mold. So
Sure.
I took his expert, and he told me to put down, to use vodka to clean it, interesting enough, and then put shellac over anything I want to seal.
Right. Seal it in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done. But now this is great because
Mhm.
I was considering having the furnace cleaned, and I'll do this instead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Super.
Yeah. I think that was a Southern California thing. Like the alcohol and Clorox was not my idea, but there was so much black mold in Southern California and a lot of the old houses that even when you called a mold expert out, that's what they did, is they just had a concentrated version of alcohol and Clorox, and they would just spray it down. And, you know, a lot of times if it was really bad, they would cut out that piece of the wall or whatever it was and then replace it.
Yeah.
A lot of times they just sprayed it down with alcohol and Clorox and called it good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Go ahead, Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
My daughter and her husband have a construction business, and she just went to a professional workshop about getting rid of molds and
What did they say?
and all that. And they said, as far as alcohol and the Clorox and the all that stuff, they said that there's nothing that kills it. I think the stuff you're talking about will kill it because I know the history of those. But she said, what they were told to do is get air purifier, and Honeywell has the ones that can take out bacterias, viruses, molds, all that kind of stuff. And so I would spray all the stuff you're talking about and then alternate with the air purifier.
That was a
And
great
for a long
idea.
time, leave the air purifier because all that stuff can cause pneumonias.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
mycobacterial pneumonia can be really hard to get rid of. Can be like a year to year and a half of antibiotics. So you want to make sure, some people get.
And are those Honeywell air purifiers real expensive?
Well, it depends on the size. You can get them to cover the whole house or single rooms and alternate the rooms with alternating with your oils. They can be like a couple $100 to $400.
Okay, that's for a good air purifier. That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
back in the day, we were spending, like when I lived in Southern California, that had the worst air quality in the US. I mean, I think we had air purifier that was like $1,000 or something, 20 years ago. But I mean, the air quality is so bad there. Like I had this thing that like when I was in Southern California, my ears would clog up. Soon as I got out of Southern California, they would open up. Soon as I would go back to Southern California, they'd clog right back up. So one of the ways that we offset it was we had a super strong air purifier for the house. And as long as I had the air purifier on, my ears would stay open. But
Well, I got one for my mom because it takes out bacteria and viruses as well. But like, and she has this raspy cough. So like, Target usually carries them and the filters, but like you can get them on Amazon. And the Honeywell one that I got that was like about $450 with all the filters, and you have to get 3 filters for the fine viral stuff.
right.
But that don't come with it. But anyway, so you have to buy them separately. But like when there's a button that you press when you turn it on that will tell you the quality of air, and if it's really bad, it'll turn red. And then I think there's 3 different colors so that you know how putrid the place is, because it'll take out benzene and things like that, because my sister sprayed my mom's house with bug killer, but like, you know, they don't put all the ingredients on it. You have to go back to the manufacturer, and it had benzene and some of those forever chemicals, and they never break down, but this will take it out. It'll pull out benzene.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, thank you.
And then just one more question on the air stuff, perhaps in the filter on the furnace itself with a question mark.
You could try. Like I would think the air filter is more about just the whole quality of the room, but by the air furnace.
Like doing the oil treatment.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Doing the oil treatment and
In the filter on the furnace itself. So like the furnace has a filter, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
I don't check these things.
I never really played with putting it on the filter. I had somebody do that and tell me that, and you could play with it. Like I just did the aromatherapy thing that I know. And so we would spray it in the vents and then diffuse it in the room. And it was a short amount of time, and it really turned it around.
And they clarified it's the air intake from the basement.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
All right. And then we had another question.
Yes.
Question. I have had a cough at times where the roof of my mouth so tickles and it feels almost itchy, and coughing doesn't seem to alleviate it, although coughing seems to be the thing the body wants to do. Maybe
I actually know exactly what you're talking about, and I had several people bring that to my attention like during the COVID stuff. And it didn't necessarily mean that you had COVID, but like, your body might have fought off COVID, but still there's like the effects of it. And a couple of people said that the roof of their mouth got so inflamed that like even when they would like brush their teeth, like they couldn't even brush their teeth very long because it almost would make them feel like they were going to vomit, or they would start coughing. And so what I had them do was take cypress and put several drops and then rub it all across the roof of the mouth. It seemed to alleviate that. And so the other thing is it can be a sinus related issue. So it could be that just like a lot of lymphatic stagnation, or there's something going on with the sinuses. But I found that like I experimented with that as well. Like I rubbed a bunch of cypress on, kind of opened up my sinuses a little bit, not massively, but it had an impact. And so I would treat all of the above.
The rest that came in are more of those shares you had asked about the workbook. Do you
Yeah. I'd
record
like to hear
this?
the workbook shares. Yeah.
Record it still?
We don't have to record that part.
No. So someone else said outline on the left, it's usually in the way of the PDF, and it's very specific. That's more for the setup of, like, they're talking about what it looks like in the PDF, so that's not what you deal with.
I don't even know what that meant.
Well, I don't either, but they said it's usually in the way the PDF is made. So not what your notes are. So it's
Oh, okay. I don't know that I still know, but okay.
type of base oil for body tonic.
Well, body tonic is actually alcohol and witch hazel. And yeah, we could do a little bit maybe more specific for that.
I mean, body tonic, we have the thing at the top that says what a body tonic.
Yeah, like we
Yes.
do have the thing like at the beginning of all the booklets, like how to make a ointment, how to make a liniment, how to make a, and that's to kind of keep from making this all. I could also just say see the notes or something, like unless they're different. But sometimes the base, like the base oil, there are different things to use. So I could include that, I guess, as well. Yeah.
Someone said yes, as to number of drops, maybe indicate what is or is not appropriate for children.
So let's just be clear about this. Unless I say it's for children, it is not for children. Like there's special sections that are for children. We haven't had a lot of people ask for that, but unless I say for children, just assume this is not for children.
And the reason I wanted to start recording is right before he had actually said, if he doesn't say internal.
Right. Yeah, if I don't say internal, then do not do it internal. It's either not good for you to take internally or it's not effective. And so internal is not always the go-to thing. Sustained inhalation is always good. Topical is always good. As far as children are concerned, we do have like a kit that has like a little bit of a PDF that is specific for children under the age of 7 or 8. Including all the way down to an infant. Even if you don't buy the kit, use that PDF, but anything in this, it's not going to be an either or. It's never okay for a kid unless, it's from that kind of PDF. Every once in a while, there's a little bit of variation, but like treating kids is a whole nother ball of wax. And so it never overlaps. It very rarely overlaps.
And the other thing I think, so everyone understands how these workbooks work, is they are for the masses. And like when we're here in the study group, we can ask specific questions. But for somebody who's just on the street, we don't want them to just be taking things internal. We don't want them to be like doing these kind of things. And so.
But it may be better instructions on the chakras, diffuser, massage.
And again, maybe we'll just do a thing at the top for, these are applications for adults, not for children, just as a base thing we could just have as a added thing.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe do.
Just like a boom.
Or 8 years and above or something. Yeah. Okay, this is helpful. Like anything else that you have? This is quite helpful.
Can you indent all the stuff that is not the condition?
I don't know what that means.
Either. Let's see what there was other. Technical setup. But like i.e. cough from the next highlighted boxes. I think that it might make sense to Letty.
I still don't know what it means. I don't know what.
This is Sahajananda, and that's
Mhm.
my my posting, and it's very technical and it's just layout, but I
But,
found
but like, what are you referring to?
so every time you list a condition,
Uh-huh.
it's in this, it's the things underneath it. Let me go into the document again. The things underneath it, like I see earache, and then underneath it says treatment. Treatment's the same color box, and it's at the same distance from the edge of the paper. So
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
okay, earache doesn't stand out. And so, I mean, I would be very willing to help you guys with this, you know, if I'm sure Robert does this stuff too, but it's just a layout. And I found that I was having a hard time finding where each of the categories was, because everything was the same and the same
Oh,
color.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk it out with Letty. We'll work out how to handle that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, she's probably already resolved it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I see what you're saying now. Like, as I go through and look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
Maybe like treatment can be one color, condition can be one color. Symptoms can be a color. Yeah, I'll work that out with Letty.
Okay, there's so
Yeah.
many ways you could do it, but it just,
Yeah,
I mean, the main thing was I wasn't finding it easy to find the categories. And when you
Okay.
said turn to X, I had to go through every one of those boxes. It's very specific to layout stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But if it makes it easier to use, like, that's what
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out for you guys. So
Thank you.
perfect. Okay.
It would also be helpful to list the oils in order of effectiveness and the most effective way to take these oils.
Yeah. That's kind of impossible. Different conditions or different variations of body types. The thing is, if I listed it, it's an A+ choice. If there is a B choice, it did not make the cut. And so everything that's listed is effective. Sometimes you have to experiment because maybe body types are a little bit different, and that's hard to predict from person to person. But if it's on the list, it's an A+ choice, like, bottom line. There's no, in this booklet, there is no B choices. Like, B choices for me are like, why bother? Like, you know, swing for the fences or go home. And so that's the way that I kind of lay it out. That's why, like, if you look at a different book, like say for, I'm looking at laryngitis, they might have 15 things. 3 of them work really well, and 12 of them are, I don't put anything that's like a B choice. Like, I don't even go down that route. So.
And I think they were also saying even like top choices for application, like if internal or neat.
Okay.
Or something like that, if that's even a thing.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've done a little bit of that in some places, but you know, like, sometimes I get a little self-conscious, like I feel like I'm going on and on about all the different applications. And so sometimes I stop myself. But what I'm hearing from you is go for it.
Someone said, still without any revisions, the workbook is a real blessing.
Yeah, but it needs to be as easily used as possible. Like like the thing with what Sahajananda said about the layout, that wouldn't have dawned on me, but now that she says that, I was like, I kind of see what she's saying. Like, as I flip through it, I get it. And so we'll play with the layout a little bit. And like I said, these are always works in progress. So I'll go through and I'll refine. And as we refine them, we'll send them out to you guys. And, you know, even if people weren't in the class, we can just blast it out to all the students. But, you know, I always refer to this as being in the monkey box or the monkey cage too long. You know, when you first walk into the monkey cage, it stinks. Then you've been there for a while and you're aware of the odor. And after about an hour, you don't smell it anymore. Sometimes when I'm doing these notes, I'm in the monkey cage too long. Like, and I'm like, I kind of don't see things the same way. And so that's why it's helpful for me to get feedback from you guys, and then I'll go through and refine it as we go along, because I want it to be just super intuitive and super easy for you to be able to go, and so all of this is good feedback.
When I was in nursing school, the formula they taught us was name of medication, dosage, route, how often, and length of time.
Let maybe write that down so I can follow that. Can we take a picture of it or something? Or you have it? Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's helpful too.
Would it be possible to, on the website, what kits the oil is in? If you just clarify what that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means either.
So like when I go to look for oil, I'm not sure which kit to look for it in.
I
see what you're saying. So if you were looking at an oil, you'd like to see what kit it's in?
If I'm looking for an oil, am I unmuted? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm looking for an oil, I'm not sure which kit it's in, and I'm keeping them in the kits, which I'm not sure is the best organization.
What kits are you talking about though? Like
the kits that you send out for each class.
The class
Sorry,
kits.
we were thinking.
Yeah,
kits.
because we have like little treatment kits that you can get.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about reorganizing them alphabetically so I can find things.
Oh, I have a PDF with the class kit list.
Yeah, actually, Letty has is that the one we let? Yeah,
Letty, I Letty keep track.
Letty like keeps like crazy tabs on all these things, and so I think we do actually have.
We have a
like
PDF that has what's.
Do you think it's better to organize it alphabetically?
In the beginning, that's what I thought, and then even now, I like how you guys have like little class kits. Like if I'm going to work something, I have like little kits like you guys where I'm like, this is my kit for this. This is my kit for that. I used to have like those big essential oil things, and I had everything alphabetical, and I would have an employee go through and make sure it stayed alphabetical. And it was a lot to maintain. And so I went to smaller bottles, and then having just like little kits, like, okay, if I have a pain thing, I have like a pain kit. Like I have like, and it's a good size one. Like I don't know, they're not around me right now, but it's like it holds like 70 oils or so. And so I have like a pain kit, I have a lymphatic kit. And so it's a combination of all those things, but like kind of like how you have the little class kits where it might have like 10, 15, 20 oils in them. I have like almost like a suitcase full of those. And when I'm doing different practices, I pull that out and then I put it back, and just keeps me from spending time looking for things. And I like your idea of putting the names or the list of oils in each of the kits. We'll just have to figure out how that's going to look on the website, but that's doable. Yeah.
And I
wonder if we even
just like organize it differently. So
Yeah.
like I keep all my kits, all my class kits in their case.
Yeah.
And then I use the PDF Letty gives me to look and see,
Right.
oh, Greg's using this oil. Oh, it was in this class.
So, okay. So like Dave, since you're the one that brought this up, what if, like at the beginning of the booklet, it says like, hey, all these oil, this is how you make a liniment. This is how you make a massage oil. This is how you make an ointment. This is how you do a diffuser. There's all those instructions. What if we just put all the class kits like in the beginning of the booklet instead of on the website? Would that be better? Or would you prefer it on the website?
I think all you need is a link to the website, because that's going to be a lot of information. And I think it would be good to have it indexed where you can search by the class or you search by the oil.
Okay, let me think what that might look like.
Yeah, we'll have to,
And I mean, I know like a fast way. We
Yeah.
can start with at least getting that PDF up.
we'll have to run that by Robert. Like the thing, like the reason why I'm trying to think it out different ways is we already have so much information on the website. We don't want to make it like more confusing, but like more things to kind of process, but at the same time.
I would just have a link for students.
Yeah.
Oh, that is complicated.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, there's
Greg, can I say something?
yeah, get me started on the website. It's like it's constant work.
I would just think if everybody just has a copy of that PDF, Greg, I think that would work. And then as we were updating it, I can just
Yeah, so
you
we
know,
make it
update
like
it.
just a PDF by itself.
yeah,
Like
and just
instead of
email it
being
to
in a
everybody.
booklet, just like and like every like maybe a month or two we update the PDF. Maybe
Yeah,
that
because that's kind of what I have. That's kind of what I've been doing. Just update it. It kind of helps. And then maybe everybody can just print it. And if you visually have it in front of you, then you can you're looking for, an oil, like it's a lot easier to look for it on that PDF chart that I have.
That would be helpful. And then
yeah, I like that idea. I think
Great.
that might be the best idea is just to have a PDF.
I think that's a great idea. And then
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to just have the list of what you're using for each class in the class PDF.
You lost me again. Like
So-
say that again.
Well, let's say in this class, we're looking at, let me find one. Eucalyptus, lavender, lemon, just in that PDF, have an index for the oils that are used in that PDF or in that class.
He's thinking this is a class. And it is, but it's a study group. So we
Oh,
look at things
Whichever.
differently for these.
Each-
Sorry.
each
I still
PDF.
don't understand what's being said.
So
Like like what is it?
each PDF would have a list of the oils that are being used or could be used.
I still don't understand.
Okay, are you using this study group class as an example?
Yeah, yes.
But I'm not understanding the oils are
So, so that we know what is being used in this class, in this PDF. This, I'm calling it a class,
It's
this,
okay.
this session,
okay.
an index of all the oils that could be used. But, especially really for,
But like okay, but right there you lost me. Like what do you mean by all the oils that could be used?
so you've got, right now I'm looking at number 11 sinus.
Mhm.
And the single oils, eucalyptus, lavender, lemon, neroli, peppermint, pine, etc. You could have an index at the back listing these oils, but it's more for the paid classes where you send out a kit.
I'm still not understanding what you're meaning.
Okay,
Like the PDF of
Greg, I think what he's saying is he wants like a list of all the oils that like come in this class, like just listed somewhere, like almost like a chart. Like these are all the oils, kind of like the way Sam will list all the oils, like when, for example, when we're
is that
coming
what
up.
you mean, Dave?
yeah, for the paid classes especially.
Like in the class, like these are the oils in this class.
Right.
Yes,
That way-
like just,
Okay.
exactly. It just,
Okay. That I get. Okay.
we don't have Letty's full key and index.
So he's wanting like the PDF, like the full PDF for everything, but then like at the beginning of the class, at the end of the class, like these are the oils so that he can just look at the PDF.
Right,
And
right.
go, oh, these are the oils in that class.
right.
Right? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I think I understand.
Okay.
So you could decide if you like that or not.
Okay.
like Sam, you know how I have the PDF, right? And I list the class and it's like, pretty much like grabbing that list from that PDF and just sticking it in the PDF. Do you know what I mean?
Like there's a group PDF, but then each class has the list at the back. So
Yeah.
you don't have to go through it.
Exactly.
I get you. Okay.
And then I always list them alphabetically order. So it would just be a matter of just grabbing that list that I already have and just sticking it either like at the very back, maybe Greg, where we have your information, where all your information goes at the
Okay.
last page.
Okay.
Or, or we could just add a separate page at the very beginning with them, like after the, after like the second cover. I mean, I can do a
Yeah,
couple of
we'll
versions.
play with it. We'll figure it out. We'll have to play with it.
And I just also want to make sure everybody knows, like, for how we post things, if you search in the box, for our previous classes, we post, like, in the previous class, the oils that were like the kit. And so if you just look up an oil and you see a previous class pop in that search, that means that oil was in that class. So you could go to that kit. I mean, I'm fine with the PDF thing too, but I'm just saying, if you just go.
Oh,
to
so we
search
kind of
button
have a
and someone
thing.
looks up Bay Laurel and it'll have different previous classes pop up.
Oh,
It
so
means
that
Bay
already-
Laurel was in that class.
It's already kind of happening on the website.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I've noticed that.
Okay.
I mean, but we'll still do the PDF. That's
Yeah.
totally doable, totally fine,
Okay.
and good.
Yeah.
Good feedback. Guys.
So like if somebody puts in Bay Laurel, it shows the classes that.
Yeah, it brings, like,
Boy,
if you look
check-
up Bay Laurel, it brings up the different Bay Laurels and then the different kits and the different classes.
Check you and Robert out rocking all of that.
So,
Nice.
all right, that was a good one. That was a long one. PDF is good because it's searchable. Different people saying how they do it. I copy the list of oils and the objectives for the class. The class and PDF notes are Angel's Gifts as I am struggling with wheezing. Every issue is explained clearly with the symptoms and with the importance essential oils. Thank you. So they're just saying how you have it with, like, here's your symptom,
Mhm.
here's the oil.
Mhm.
They're saying such a.
Yeah, like, you know, in times past, we would just talk about the condition. And so we went through and I thought, let's put in the symptoms because, you know, sometimes people will think, oh, I think I have this or that, but you can go through and evaluate the symptoms and you go, oh, I have several of these symptoms. And, you know, sometimes a symptom might seem the same from different conditions, but because the condition is different, like something for wheezing might be different in one thing versus another thing. And so, or like a cough or something like that. And so, yeah, lots to think about when I put this together.
And then.
Okay, like that's a lot of good feedback. And we're taking notes, or we have the recording, I guess, yeah. Yeah, anything else on the workbook, or you have questions about anything?
Sonia has her hand raised.
Yeah, Sonia.
Yeah, what I find difficult some is, you know, if you're taking classes that you've taken before, and since you're not getting the kit with it, and sometimes the kits have changed some.
We try not to change the kits. Like if we've, like maybe in the real old days, we might have changed a little bit, but we try to usually give you a heads up, like, hey, we're going to do something different. But these days, even if I've changed the process a little bit, I stick to the kit. So that if that's happened, it will be a thing in the past that will not happen. Yeah, and it hasn't happened for a while, and it will not happen in the future.
A lot of your classes I've taken, you know, from the very beginning. So like,
Yeah.
So I find it really helpful when you do the class to list what's in the kits, so I can find the right stuff before, since I'm not getting the kit because I took it before.
Okay.
To find the right.
And a lot of times, if you look at the flyers too, just we're going to address this in the booklets and then with the PDF and everything. But a lot of times when the second round of the flyer comes out, the list of the oils that are in the class is usually in the second flyer.
Yeah, and when you copy out the flyer, it won't let you separate it from the format that it's in. So you have to retype it. You know, you could do it a simpler format. And let's see, the oils that have those yellow amber labels, they're really hard to see and find I think the best labels were the clear ones with the white print.
Yeah, we actually have already been adjusting the goldy yellow ones because they are a little bit hard to read. And so we're already making adjustments on that.
Okay, and it would be helpful, like to have a thing that says what's in the blends, because it helps me if there's a list or a little directory dictionary someplace.
Yeah, I struggle with that because like when we're doing some of the classes with the blends, people think that if they have something in the blend, it's the kind of the same or it's a substitute. And a lot of times that's not the case. So I actually have done that a little bit on purpose. I might undo that a little bit. And if people do it, it's just whatever. But a lot of times people think that if they have one of the things in the blend, it's a substitute, and most times it's not.
Well, you could put a big sign at the top of your list that says that, but like where I find it helpful is I get reactions from a lot of stuff, and so it helps me to have an idea beforehand, because then I need a box of Kleenex, or I take homeopathics afterwards that are anti-inflammatories and stuff, anti-asthmatics to deal with some of the oils. Otherwise, I can't use my CPAP because I'm too swelled up.
Okay.
So if people are sensitive to stuff, that can be really helpful. The other thing is, so like I don't have a color printer, so if you print words each with a different color and print it in a black so you can see what happens, because red will print as black, and so you get a label on your class thing that is red and you can barely see, or sometimes you can't.
You're not working off you're not working off the PDF. You're not working with your laptop or you're using hard copies.
Yes, I have to work off the computer is hard for me because of the learning disabilities. I have to print it. Well, and then because it won't let you, and then I have to retype it in so I can directly type in my notes. Otherwise, I've got funny notes all over the place. It's just too confusing. So I print it, retype it in, and am able to directly put in my notes in class, so it's clear for me, because I have visual problems and processing, and you can't put in, if I use the print thing on the computer, it doesn't allow me to directly put in the notes or anything.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
And then on this last handout, there's a bunch, well, you can look at the edges, but there's a bunch of sentences where it continues off into, it's cut off. It goes out into the margin. It's not formatted to fit in the 8.5 by 11. And when it gets to the end of the page, it's printing it off the let's see, page 16, a scratchy or painful sensation in the throat, which may be due to postnasal drip or excess M. It got cut off. It's off in the margin. That's on.
Oh, I see that.
Symptoms.
Yeah, right.
There's a bunch of those in this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll address that.
It's a format thing. Okay. I think that's.
Yeah, it happened a few times.
Thank you for that. And then go ahead, David.
Hey, David.
Okay, so one more. I think firstly, I want to thank you, because your work is phenomenal, and I have to say that. But I started printing all these and then I realized I watched you do it electronically on a tablet or a computer. So I started doing that. And what I found is it would be nice to have a link, like when you list something, to link to, so you could jump around by pressing, you know, the button, you know, the screen. That's all my thought was. So if you have,
I'm not sure.
sorry, if you have a table of contents like somebody was suggesting.
Oh, yeah, like a book.
Yeah, so.
Like the beginning of a digital book. Yeah, I get you.
Right. And then you use a link so you could jump to.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But so, you know, I started printing all these and I have so many. So then I looked at what you do.
Especially what he's saying, especially like for the conditions, that actually might be a thing. Like in the class where they're laid out a particular way, but with the conditions, that's so much that they could just look at the beginning and go cough and hit it, and then it drops them down to cough. Like, you know, at the beginning of like a digital book. Like, okay, we'll figure out how to try to work that in.
Links are easy, but you know.
Someone said you can try opening your PDF in Kindle and it actually should do that automatically.
Does it?
That's what
In
this
Kindle?
person said.
And if it doesn't do that, you can right click your PDF and open it in Word, and Word will actually make one for you. You'll have to check
Really?
if it's what you want. Yeah. So I put in before I got kicked out and back in, I put a small sample in the chat of what Word would do with it. So you might have to then, you know, nudge it a bit depending on your format, but you should be able to do it without having to type everything out and putting it into the content.
Okay. Interesting.
And then, you know, if you can open it, if when you're reading it, you can open it or not. And if you open it, it's a little thing on the left-hand side and you can just click that chapter and they'll take you right there.
Nice. Okay.
All right. I can help with that if you need help.
Okay. Yeah, let us play around with it and we'll see. And yeah, we might need some help. Yeah.
Word can also create an index for any word and just pull it right into the index.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you
I don't use Word, I actually use the Apple version, which is what, Pages or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
but I think Letty uses Word, converts it all over to Word, and
okay.
yeah.
If you need a hand,
I'm very simple and old school. Like when it looks fancy, it's because somebody else did something to it.
if you need a hand with any of that with Word,
Okay.
I'd be happy to help.
Sonia, your hand's raised.
Hey, Sonia. Okay, any questions about the conditions or anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to talk about, respiratory wise?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
What would be nice is to have a place where you could go to that has a copy of all the prayers and mantras and stuff. And it would be nice to know what they actually mean. So that
What the mantras mean?
The mantras and the you know, all the little yatris and the different things you do. It would be helpful, especially because like a lot of times your voice is soft and I can't hear you. And so if you're at home and you want to use what you said, you know, you're kind of lost.
Okay.
And let's see. I can't remember the other thing I was going to say.
And you guys can always email us.
If you remember something after the fact, yeah, feel free to email us. I mean, we're trying to incubate this into something that is more intuitive for you guys, and so without making it too complicated. And so, and you know, different brains work different ways and process things differently. So it's good to let me hear a bunch of different things, because I don't want to make it too complicated, but at the same time, I want to make it really super user friendly.
The other thing, when you, that now we're doing with the thing with the transcripts, but when you go to the site, it won't let you copy the transcript out.
I don't know what we're talking about now. What do you
We have a system, there's a system that's now in effect where you can get a transcript of what you're saying instead of my trying to record it and then run it back through my system. I have a device that will slow down, lower pitch and slow down speed without distortion because I have language processing problems. So I either have to record it, put it on that one of the drives that goes into that, and then slow it down and then print it, type it out to get a transcript. But now this is your Zoom has a thing where you can press a button and it does a transcript and it's printing out what you're saying as you're saying it. And so then you're supposed to be able to pick that up on the recordings. But when you go to the recording site, it will not let you print out the transcript. And sometimes
yeah, I don't know that that's anything we can do. That's actually from Zoom.
You have to save it before the end of this meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
it won't let me save it.
Yeah, you have to open it, and at the bottom there's a little button that says Save Transcript.
I pressed that, and where is it saving to?
It's saving it to a folder called Zoom and whatever the name of this meeting is.
And where is that folder?
It's on your computer.
Where on the computer?
I'll tell you what, why don't you put your email in the chat and I'll get in touch with you and help you find that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And go ahead, Letty.
Hi, Greg. I have a question.
Yes.
I have a coworker who has a cough that has kind of stayed ever since she had COVID. It's a dry cough, and it only starts like it starts like I'm trying to think of the word to say, but like I think like it activates the cough when she starts talking, type of thing. Like she'll be fine
when she starts what talking.
Mm-hmm. And then she feels like there's also like she like her throat is kind of like she's been trying to describe to me, and I'm thinking I keep thinking like I need to ask you, but I keep forgetting. But right now that we're talking about all this respiratory,
I would do a thing like you'll have to kind of treat to see. I'd almost treat it like a sore throat and like the tonsillitis thing. I would open it up that way because there's a good chance that there's just a bunch of lymph in the like the throat area. And so go through and treat it like that. Sometimes, keep in mind, like a cough is always about trying to get something out of the respiratory tract, be it mucus or some sort of material that, like I usually just call it debris, like there's some sort of debris in the lungs. So, it could be dried mucus, it could be all kinds of things. And so I'd start with treating it as like with a sore throat kind of protocol and tonsillitis. And then I'd do like some lymphatic work, and then I'd go back and treat like the lungs and like the traditional ways of treating a cough.
okay.
Yeah. Unless there's been some issue where there's been a big trauma or something like that, and there's some sadness and grief, that's the way that I would handle that.
There is okay, so there is a lot of trauma in this person.
Yeah, I wondered because that was blaring in my head when I was talking.
Yeah, there is a lot of trauma.
Marjoram, helichrysum, cypress, but ginger lily is the rock star there, or the blend sadness and grief should help.
Yeah. So there is a lot of like trauma like that happened to her, but this didn't stay with her till like after she had COVID. Like because prior to COVID, she didn't have that cough.
Yeah,
but now that you're mentioning trauma,
kind of impacts the respiratory tract, especially the lungs, quite substantially. So I will help kind of clear those things out.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Greg.
It's exactly 6 o'clock.
Okay, you guys. So we'll break for the night and we'll come back tomorrow and do this again with the endocrine system. So we're going to do an endocrine system. We've talked about a little bit, but not like to the degree that we're doing. And, you know, we'll go kind of gland by gland and what are the potential problems with each of the, if there's dysfunction or issues that can happen with each gland. So we'll start at 10 and we'll still do our lunch break at noon to do the Astara thing, but we'll have a nice full day tomorrow.